Hello engineers, in this lesson we're going to learn about perspective drawings, and more specifically we're going to learn how to make a one-point perspective drawing. Here we have the three main types of perspective drawing: 1-point, 2-point, and 3-point. And what does that mean? A perspective drawing offers the most realistic three-dimensional view of all the pictorial methods because it portrays the object in a manner that is the most similar to how human eye perceives the visual world. So here we have an example of a puzzle block, and we can see in the perspective drawing, that's how you might actually see it if it was in front of you. You can see that the front of the object is slightly larger while the back of the object gets a little smaller. So that is essentially what a perspective drawing is. It's showing the object and how we might see it with our eyes in front of us. Take a moment, pause this screen, and write down this definition in your notes. So a one-point perspective is relatively simple to make, but somewhat awkward in appearance when compared to other types of pictorials. The horizontal line represents the horizon, and we're going to sketch that and that'll make sense in a little bit. There's only one vanishing point, and there's lots of lines or a series of lines that are drawn from distinctive points on the object to the vanishing point, outlining the object being constructed. So go ahead and take some notes here. So a one-point perspective contains one vanishing point, and all of the front faces are drawn like an oblique object, so they're flat. Okay, let's move on. So here's an example of one-point perspective. So here we have a tape dispenser, and there's the vanishing point and the horizontal line or the horizon line, and we see the vanishing point and those lines extending off of it to help guide this drawing. So notice the tape dispenser is very flat in the front, but all of the parts going towards the back, towards the horizon, they kind of become smaller and inwards towards the direction of the vanishing point. And here we have a very piece of old technologies from 2012, an iPod. You might have heard of these. They used to store your music, and that's how you listen to music way back in the day. And you can see the front of the object is much larger, and it gets smaller and smaller the closer it gets to the vanishing point. So we're going to start our lesson, our practice, with some graph paper. So grab a sheet of graph paper, move some stuff around here. Okay, we're going to start off with a simple block first. Okay, what you want to do with your graph paper is, so make sure your name's on it. The title for this one, it's going to be one point perspective. Just going to label that practice. Okay, 1-point perspective practice. And with our paper, we're going to fold it. So we're going to put it in portrait like this. We're going to fold it in half. And on this half, we're going to use this half for our first drawing example. Alright, so what I want you to do is, you should also have a ruler. And I'm going to be using a red pencil for my lines that I don't really need showing up on the drawing. So for you, you can use a red pencil or just draw very light lines. So your graph paper here, make sure you're using this type of graph paper where you have the AB, this A sheet. There's a 2 here. We're gonna count down 1, 2, 3, 4 from the top, and we're gonna line up our ruler real nice with the line and draw a line just like that. Okay. And at the end of the line, we're gonna draw a dot. If you're wondering how far from the right, I did 1, 2, 3, 4 from the right. Doesn't matter about the left side because the dot is on the right side. So we're going to label this. This line is the horizon line. So go ahead and label that. And then this is the vanishing point. I'm going to label it VP1. So that's what VP stands for, vanishing point. So let me write that out. Vanishing point. And we're going to do something very simple. We're just going to draw a cube, essentially. Somewhere on the right side here, you're going to draw a 4x4 square. So take a moment to do that. Doesn't matter where it is, as long as it's like way below, near the bottom here. And I'm still drawing in red, but I'm going to outline that in black in a moment. And you can use a pen or just a pencil. Find my pen. So I do want this to be the lines I keep. Hopefully that shows up on camera. Yeah, it looks like it does. All right, and now with my ruler might be too short. It is. Let me get a longer ruler. Hang tight. Okay, so with the front face, oops, let's auto lock this. Focus. Zoom in a little bit. Okay, so the front face of your cube is here. What you want to do is with each of these corners, you essentially want to play connect the dots with that vanishing point. So line up. So put your pencil on the vanishing point, put your ruler on it, and then line up the top left corner like so. And you're going to draw a construction line. You're going to do the same for this corner. So all of the corners on the object line up with the vanishing point. Just like that. Oh, it's blurry. Sorry about that. Let's see if I can autofocus this again. There we go. Okay, now you should see what I meant. So all of these corners line up with the object. So make sure you draw those nice and clean and sharp. Barely visible. And we're just going to estimate, let's say that this cube is, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say like right here is a good spot. Doesn't really matter. But we're going to draw a vertical line here and then a horizontal line here. So wherever this point is, go horizontally across and then vertically down. And now you should see there's your cube. Your cube kind of just pops off the page then once you have it, and it's in perspective. It's in 1 point perspective. So remember, this is a 1 point perspective. So one vanishing point. When you have a 1 point perspective, the front of the object is flat, facing you flat, just like an oblique drawing. Now, if you did this right, all of your alignments should still line up, and you're going to darken the lines of the cube itself, or the rectangular prism shape that looks. That's what this looks like. And you're going to make those lines very dark. Okay. If you do have a pen, use a pen. That'll make the drawing look super nice. Cool. And then we'll take it a step further. We'll shade the right side with just some simple hatch lines. I don't like this pen. I need a better pen for this demonstration. Just like that. Okay, and there's your first 1 point perspective drawing example. So the next one is going to be a little more complicated. So all we are going to have to do is flip the page because we have folded it in half. We're going to repeat the first few steps. So near the top, go ahead and draw a horizon line across the page by lining up your ruler with the grid lines. And we're going to label this again because you need to know what this means. This is the horizon line, and we're going to put a vanishing point right here, so VP1. And we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're not going to extend off of it just right away. We're going to talk about the block that we're going to be drawing actually. Alright, so imagine you have this puzzle block in front of you, and notice this is made out of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. The fifth block you don't see. What we're going to do is basically we're going to say that this section right here, this one right here, that's the front, and we're going to start with that block, and then we're going to add the other blocks onto it. So this is going to be a little tricky, but once you see the method and follow along as closely as possible, it should be pretty easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to, again, make sure you have your horizon line and a VP off to the right. And we're going to draw, let me use a pencil this time, just a regular pencil. And we're going to draw another 4 by 4 square near the bottom here again. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So draw it just like that. Okay. And then use your ruler. Press on the vanishing point 1. Touch your ruler to the pencil tip. Line it up with the corner there. And do that for each of these corners. Like so. It's okay if you go past it, that's fine. They should be very light and hard to see. And then our next step is we're going to draw a vertical line. And that vertical line, let's say it's over 2, so 1, 2. So find that vertical line here, and we're going to draw it just straight like that across the whole thing. So make it longer than go past this line here, and that'll make sense in a moment. And then where this line and this line intersect right here, we're going to draw a line across horizontally. It's not going to line up with the grid marks, with the grid lines. This one, for me, it's a little bit above. Yours might be in the middle, or it might actually line up. Wherever it intersects, do your best to draw horizontally across the page. So that doesn't mean diagonally or up or down. That means straight across. So this line and the line you're about to draw should be 90 degrees. And you're going to go until you touch this line here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, using my ruler, I'm going to use my small one this time, I'm going to then darken that line here, this line, and this line. And also I'm going to darken this line and this line. Okay, so why did I draw this line extended? Because if we go look at our example, okay, we have, so what we just did was draw this block. So let's say that's block 1. The line, this horizontal line, or I'm sorry, this vertical line right here is this line right here. So now we're going to draw this face, and you'll see that in action in a moment here. So on this corner here, we're going to draw vertically up. Okay, and now since this is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's make it the same. So let's kind of estimate. So we're a little bit above, you might be on, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then for me, I need to make it just slightly above and draw a horizontal line just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to darken those lines. And guess what? Then we're going to connect this corner and this corner to the vanishing point. This corner is already connected to the vanishing point, so I don't need to do that. So press pencil on the vanishing point, line it up with that corner, connect it, do the same to the other corner. Okay. If this is feeling really challenging, just take a moment, pause, observe the video, look at what you're seeing, try to make sense of it. If you're super duper stuck at this point, then go back and try this one again. Just redo the first one. Okay, if you get really stuck. If this is like blowing your mind right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so confused, just take a moment, stop what you're doing, get another sheet, and redo this one. Okay, if you do this one 2 or 3 times, you'll get those motions that matter when it comes to lining up the vanishing points to corners. That usually is what trips people up, especially when you're adding more blocks or more complex shapes. But if it's totally making sense, then keep moving through this. Okay, so make a choice and do either option. Either way, I'm going to keep moving on with this drawing so that you can see how it will be completed. Okay, now we need to decide how long is, so we have, here's our example, we have 2 more blocks to the right of it, so how long is that going to be? So since we are lined up here, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here's where I'm going to like kind of cut it off. And then with this corner right here, I'm going to line it up, make sure I'm nice and straight. What I mean, like 90 degrees. Draw a horizontal line. I'm going to go off 8 in that direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then do the same here. Okay, and now I have that front face of those 2 blocks. If I wanted to, I can 1, 2, 3, 4. I can draw the horizontal line of the block. It's this line right here, just so you can see where it's going. And then again, repeat the same steps. We're gonna connect the VP to those corners. Like so. And then we make a decision. We need to start with the top horizontal line because that's going to determine basically the rest. Or we can start on the right side here and that'll just determine the rest as well. To make it easier, I guess we're going to start with the right side here. So go over 2 and there's this vertical line. So connect between here and here. And then we're going to go across horizontally. We're going to go to this line right here. So right here somewhere. Make sure that's nice and horizontal. And then this one, that's going to go up vertically. Keep in mind, your lines might not match up with the grid lines. And that's exactly the kind of skill we're looking for. We need to be able to draw by freehand, just like so. And now we can basically complete the drawing by actually drawing the object lines, dark, thick lines. So line up your ruler and do what I'm doing. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with taking your time, pausing the video, really seeing what I'm doing here. Okay, I missed a line that one, that's okay. Line up this one right here and I'm just gonna darken that up. I'm using a regular pencil because I like how thick the lines get once you've drawn a few lines. It just looks more bold and looks like you tried to draw it on purpose. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just outlining these lines so that they really are emphasized and pop off the page. Okay, so what you should see here, and then I'm gonna kind of freehand over them just to make it look a little more thicker. Okay, I know I yell at you guys for not using your rulers. When it comes to perspective drawings, you should definitely use a ruler for setting up the drawing like I did. But I want to encourage you to then go over your lines and make sure everything's connected and bold and just really, really nice looking. And then, again, we'll take this up a notch on the right sides. So these would be the fronts. The right sides right here, you would add some hatching just to really make it look more three-dimensional. Okay, so that's perspective drawing. 1 point perspective drawing. We show the flat front face facing us, and then as it goes towards the horizon line, it becomes smaller. So, you know, we could have extended this even smaller to make it look like it was shrinking even further towards the vanishing point. So there you have it. Take a moment, pause the screen so you can see and check your work. Take a moment to also check your peers' work, look for a friend, ask them if you did it correctly, and also look at theirs, see if they did theirs correctly. And, you know, especially if there's like little notes on here from your peer explaining what you did right and what you did wrong, you will get some bonus credit. I love seeing you work together and ask each other questions and help each other out. And with that being said, I'm going to leave you with this 1 point perspective view of a road. And think about this image. Where is the vanishing point? And have you seen something like this before? Have you ever been on the road and you see it look like this? Where's the horizon line here? Where's the vanishing point? Well, where am I in the picture if I took this picture? So think about this 1 point perspective image and think about how you might actually draw something like this yourself. So with that being said, that's your 1 point perspective practice lesson. Good luck making your drawings and move on when you are finished.